All right. Welcome everyone to the webinar about the Dynavision Trade app that is being co-hosted by Companion. Unfortunately, no one from Companion could join us today, so it will be just Bent and I. We're very happy to see so many people joining us today. Just so you all know, this webinar will be recorded and you will all have access to it afterwards. Now, I noticed in the registration list that most of you are consultants, so I'm going to keep my sales talk to the bare minimum. My name is Jan Kolvenaar. I am partner manager at Dynavision, where I am responsible for sales, marketing, and partner management. And today I am accompanied by Bernd, the Dynavision product lead.
Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar. I will show you the demo of the Dynavision Trade app in a few moments.
All right, thank you, Bernd. Now, if you would have any questions during the presentation, you can post them in the Q&A section of the chat, and we will answer all of those questions after the presentation and demo. Now, before we're going to dive into the demo, I'd like to tell you a little story about an ISV called Dynavision. There once was a Belgian team of consultants that noticed that BC partners were building the same types of customization over and over again. So they thought to themselves, why not standardize these features and pour them into SaaS apps? That is when Dynavision was born. Dynavision developed an app portfolio of about 30 add-ons for Business Central with a 100% SaaS focus, allowing us to keep all the apps up to date, no matter how many updates Microsoft might push for Business Central. The team decided they should focus on the distribution and trade verticals, as well as on the drinks or beverages sector, because we Belgians are very much known for the sectors, well, especially the last one. We are currently being backed by Capital A venture capital firm that supports our growth. If you're curious about the full story and our complete offer, don't hesitate to check out our website, dynavision.app. Here are just a few snapshots of our wonderful team that is keeping our partners and customers very free. If you want to meet them, then you just have to start cooperating with us. That's all. As you can see, we went to Directions last year. This year, we will also be present in Directions Vienna, where we will be standing with a booth. So you can also visit us there if you would join the event as well. Now, why do we do what we do? We want to empower BC partners on 3 different levels. First of all, we want to help partners achieve their go-live goals by reducing the need of customization, which in its turn allows you to deliver your projects faster and in a full SaaS setup. We want to give you more sales power by offering an alternative for customizations with our standard app portfolio, and thus lowering the budgets needed for a BC implementation, while also making sure that you gain a recurring revenue stream. And last but definitely not least, we want to help you win your war on talent. Our entire app portfolio has been built around the simple principle that a junior consultant should be able to set up these apps simply by following the manual. This will allow you to train your consultants more efficiently while also delivering value for your customers. If you'll be interested in becoming a partner after the demo today, it's just as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just contact sales through our website or the link on this slide. We will send you a partner agreement that allows us to protect our IP and will ensure that you get the commission on every app license you sell. And once that agreement is signed, we will onboard you and you are all set. Here's a quick glimpse of our ecosystem. Many partners in Europe, but also throughout the rest of the world that have joined the Dynavision ecosystem. To be able to support our current and future partners even better, we recently created the Dynavision Early Adopter Program, which offers extra benefits to partners who are willing to go the extra mile together with us. This program is only available to a limited number of partners that truly believe in the power of the Dynavision portfolio. So if you are a true believer, don't hesitate to contact us and find out if you are eligible for this exclusive program. Now, normally we would describe a specific situation and pain that your customers might be facing. Now, as our trade app is a general solution that fits the needs of almost every distributor, wholesaler, or retailer, we can just pinpoint one specific need. The Trade app offers a solution to all distributors, retailers, and wholesalers who experience that standard BC doesn't offer enough flexibility and features that accommodate purchasing and sales flow. Our app adds more than 40 features designed to make the lives of employees who work in purchasing and sales a lot easier. Now, before Bent is going to kick off the demo, I'd like to mention that this app is available in Dutch, French, and English. If you want this app in your country's specific language, feel free to contact us and we'll gladly talk this through. All right, I see that Bent has already stolen my screen, so I'm going to let him do the talking from now on.
Yes, good afternoon again. So I'm going to give you a small introduction into the Dynavision Trade app. And as explained by my colleague Jens, it's in fact quite a versatile toolbox that you can use in quite a lot of different situations where sales and purchase is involved in Business Central. The biggest challenge for me today was, we have over 40 features in the app. So today I will only be able to give you, I would say, a top 10 of the features. I selected some where I guess it's very interesting for everybody. But if you want to see the full Monty, so you can download from our website the documentation, and there you have the full list of the features available in our Dynavision Trade app. So then we are going to switch to our environment for the demo. I'm putting it on my screen in full screen mode. That's easier. So the Dynavision Trade app is really a toolbox where you have different small or bigger features that will help you in the purchase and sales process. And I will just give you an impression of what we are doing. Some of them are just working out of the box. Others are configurable, and they are configurable by the functional consultant doing the project at the customer. Or if the customer is a little bit technically has some technical knowledge about Business Central, he can do it himself. So what do we mean with small enhancements in Business Central with the Trade app? I will hide the tooltip. For example, everybody knows the item list MBC. We have the inventory of the item with the base unit of measure. What have we added in the app? We have added also the inventory for the sales unit of measure and also for the purchase unit of measure. We just added that on top of our item list. The last column you see on my screen over here, that might be a strange one on the first impression. I see the demo quantity item external warehouse. And if you click through on it, you will see it's in fact a kind of a flow field. And what you see is the item ledger entry table of that specific item with an additional filter on the location code. So, and that's what I have put in the description. And in fact, what we are seeing is what we call the dynamic fields. So dynamic fields offer a possibility to set up some flow fields, some generic flow fields that are calculated on the fly on your system. So the one that we have seen in the item list was the demo quantity external warehouse. So I can just give the name as I want. I define the source table. In this case, it's the item table. We can do the same thing for the customers and the vendors. And then the target table is my item ledger entry, which will be filtered with the correct item number, of course. On that table, I can then select a specific calculation. In this case, I want to have the sum. I can also then select the sum of which field I want to see. So it's the quantity field in the item ledger entry table. And then I have the target table filters, where the first one, the item number, is set automatically. So it's the item number of the selected item in my list. And then I added here the location code of an external location. So by setting this and enabling this, this will be visible on my list, but also on the item card, and I will get some additional flow field on the item list. To give you a little impression, I also made a second one. quantity subsidiary. In this case, I also made a similar setup, just with selecting the item number, but then I also enabled the option to show me the information from another company. So, and I will enable it right now. And if I go back to my item list, we will see the additional field to the right. And now I see also kind of a flow field, which is showing me the available quantity in a different company. I can also click this value. It will open a new tab, which is opening the other company, the item ledger entry table, where the information is coming from. 1 second. So yeah, we see it. I have the item ledger entry table from the other company filtered on the correct item. So that's a small thing, which is very handy, the dynamic fields, where you can so define some custom flow fields without needing a developer for items for customers and for vendors. What we also made is some pop-up comments. For example, on the customer, I will open the customer card. We can set what we call pop-up comments. Pop-up comments can be defined in a very similar way as the extended texts on items. I can select a specific language code, or I can use one code for all languages, and what I did in this case. You can define the information you want to show in the pop-up, and then for each different type of document, for example, I just enable it on the sales quote, I will get a pop-up. There are several options: do nothing, show me the pop-up, and we also have a print option. If you're using the Dynavision layouts, which is another app of us, you can also use that information to be printed on several layouts. So you just set it up. And for example, if I now will make a new sales quote, and if I will select that customer from my list, you will see the pop-up comment. Just a very easy feature, but it's a feature that is very often made in a PTE solution specific for the customer. Now I'm on my sales quote. I can show another interesting, very recent feature. We enabled, or we added in the description field of the sales documents, we added some search functionality. So if, for example, I will just search, you can compare it with Google. You just can enter 2 words or 2 parts of a word. You put enter, and the system will open up all possible items which contain EB, and in this case 1.4. So I can then just say I want to select this item, and it's inserted on my list. It's quite powerful, flexible, because I can also enter 14 EB, for example. I enter and I will get the same result. So it's a very powerful search to find your items in your item list to be added on the different documents. So that's that. I'm just checking my notes that I don't forget anything about the features. I will make this empty. One thing we also added for creating in a fast and efficient way sales documents is what we call the explode bomb functionality. I just can show you the details of that item. So this item on the item card has a bomb defined with, in this case, 2 lines. And what we added is the functionality that you can, what we call, auto explode the bomb if you enter this item on a sales list. We also have the option to decide what you want to do with the dimensions for the components. So when I go back now and I will enter the quantity, it will trigger the automatic explosion of the bomb, and it will replace the line that I inserted by the 2 component lines. In this case, I enter 2, and it will multiply the amount of the bomb, the assembly bomb, to have the correct amounts on my document. Also a very small but interesting feature that has been made over and over again in the world by developers to make customers happy, and which you can now just enable in the system. I will go to the next feature. We can, what we call, create sales documents, but also purchase documents on the other side, sales documents from a template. I can now say, I want to create an order. I want to create it for a specific customer, and then I can select a template code. If I show the details of the template code, what you see here is a configuration template where you can now specify which fields on the sales order need to be filled with specific values. So I just said your reference PO XXX. I want the shipping agent code to be DHL, and the salesperson code is Bernd. So just to give you an idea what the functionality is doing. So if I confirm this, it will create a new sales order. It will enter the customer, and then it will override all the fields that I have specified in my configuration template. For example, here you see the reference and you see the salesperson code that was be set in the template. Can be handy. You can create as many templates as you want, and so you can create different types of orders without the user needing to replace all the values in the different fields. Another thing that we added or expanded, so we are really using the basic functionality of BC, but we are adding functionality to that, is on the recurring sales lines. I specified recurring sales lines with 2 items. I have an option to clear the quantity each time that I open it. And now when I enter the quantity on these lines and I go back to my sales order, so that's the delete quantity option. And when I now say OK, those lines will be added with the newly inserted quantities. So I get a list of standard items that this customer is buying. But when I'm on the phone with the customer, I can open the recurring sales lines. I can take note of the different quantities he wants at this moment, and those are then inserted on the sales lines. What do we have more? A quite powerful tool is what we call the multiple payment methods. So standard BC has a possibility to set a payment method on a sales document. And if you have a balancing account, it will automatically post the payment when you post the invoice. But it's limited to 1. So what we can do, for example, I have a total amount of 42 euros in this case. I can say, okay, I want to pay with WorldPay, an electronic payment provider. I want to pay 30 euros with that payment, and in the second payment, I will do the cash payment. I also have an option to fill in automatically the remaining amount, so it's an easy way to enter this. I will come back on that later. What can we also, or what did we also enhance? The email functionality for sending email configurations, for example. I click now on the send email configuration, and the people that know Business Central will immediately see, okay, I have the to address, which is coming from my customer, but I also have a CC address and a BCC address. This is my address and this is the BCC address. And how did we achieve this? I will discard this mail. We achieved this by the email recipients setup. So also linked to the email scenarios, which are part of standard BC. And here you can see that for a sales order, on this line, I say I want to add the email, for example, of the sales manager, which should be in BCC. And I also said on the sales order confirmation, I want the salesperson or the email from the salesperson card to be in CC. So it's a flexible way to add additional email addresses on different types of email scenarios which are available in Business Central. To continue, I will first now post the shipped. 1 second for shipping the 2 lines. Hoping that I have enough inventory. Yes. And now I will show the next step. For example, I can select the post and send, which will apply also a document sending profile. And we added an option to attach a PDF. So if I confirm this and I say I want to invoice this order, it will post the invoice, it will create a posted invoice, and at the same time, it will then attach the, if I go now to the posted sales invoices, I take the last sales invoice. What do we see? I have an attachment, which is in fact just an automation of the standard function to attach it. And on top of that, we added also a preview of that PDF, which in this case is one of our Dynavision layouts, and I can very easily see now the result on screen. We can do the same thing on the purchase side. We are seeing now the Dynavision layout, and what we will see also is that I see the amount paid and the open amount, and this is the result of our multiple payments that we have entered on the sales order. And during the posting of the invoice, we also posted the multiple payments and we applied them to the invoice so that you can see the remaining amount is 0 in this case. So I did it with 2. You could also use 3, 4, 5 payment methods on the same document. So we are already quite advanced in our demo. I go back to my items list to show some features that we implemented using the attributes. Attributes are quite, I would say, powerful in Business Central, but it can be cumbersome to certainly in the beginning if you have a lot of new master data in the system and you have to attach all the correct attributes to the correct items. Every consultant who has done it in the past, he knows that going with rapid start into that, I would say, battle is quite a challenge sometimes. So we wanted to improve the experience also for the customers, for the end users. So I have quite a list of items in here just to demonstrate. I have a list of what we call packaging items. It's a specific setup for our beverage solution, but it will do the stuff also for my demo here. We added attributes multiple. So I made first a selection of items. I can go to the multiple and now I can say, okay, I want to add a specific attribute, reusable packaging, yes. And I can add this together, for example, with a category, and I will say category C. And now I can add all those attributes to the selection of items. If I go now to my item, I will see that the item attributes are assigned to the complete list of my selection. So it's quite an easy way of selecting items. I can also, with the control key, make a selection like this, and then I can go again to my attribute multiple, and I can add now whatever attributes I want, and those are applied in one go without using a rapid start to do that on multiples once. What we also added to our attributes is in the standard filter by attributes, we added a possibility to save and to reselect a selection of filters so that you don't need to re-enter the attributes and the values over and over again. And just by selecting it and by applying it, your list has been filtered. The same way of filtering items are also in some other apps of Dynavision used to make, for example, a selection of items when you're running a report on a set of items. So that will also help on that part of the apps in the Dynavision system. So that's more or less the end of the demo. I will go back to my presentation because there's one thing I still want to show you. It's in fact we made or we use also the new features that Business Central is offering. In the last wave in Business Central 23, the scanning property was added to fields on the mobile client, and that's what we are using in this example. So we created what we call a scan page. It's to scan requisition lines so that we can give a mobile device to somebody, for example, in the warehouse or in the shop or in the retail in the point of sales, and he can just go scan barcodes. The item is selected. He can enter the quantity, and each time he can select the camera of the mobile device to scan the next barcode to enter the quantity. We store the lines in a temporary table where you can go in, you can reopen to change the quantity or to change the unit of measure. You can just check it, and you can also delete some lines you have scanned. If you made a mistake, for example, you can also delete all. In this case, we cancel it. And then you can again scan a new item, barcode, it's selecting, it's working over the item references. And now we see that we have 3 lines scanned. And if we close the window, it will ask, do you want to move it to the requisition worksheet? I can select a template because you can create templates. And at this moment, those lines are added to the requisition line where then the purchaser can check it, maybe add some quantities or remove some quantities, and then create the corresponding purchase orders for those items. So that brings me to the end of the demo. I will hand over to Jens again.
All right. Thank you, Bernd, for this demo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Maybe, Bernd, you can go to the next slide. So thanks all for joining us today. If you would have any questions, I don't see any questions at the moment in the Q&A. If any questions would pop up, you can just scan this QR code and fill in the contact form to request more information about the Trade app or any other app we have in our ecosystem. So thanks all for joining today. It was a pleasure having you. I hope you enjoyed this demo, and we also hope to see you at our next webinar.